Hello everyone. I just wanted to do a quick video going over how to do the part 2 of the dietary analysis. So we're going to start with MyFitnessPal Excel data. So as you can see on the screen, on here it has 3 different days, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now it'll only list the days that you, or the meals that you actually ate something. So if you didn't put anything in for dinner or snacks, those won't show up. You may only see breakfast and lunch. As you can see, I didn't eat it. I didn't put anything in as snacks, so that did not show up. Now, one of the easiest ways to actually do the averages here is if you click on the bottom box right here, if you'll do the equal sign, write the word sum, open parentheses, highlight all of the boxes and do a close parentheses and hit enter. That will add up all 3 days. The next line below it, you'll do an equal sign. You'll click that same box above. You'll hit the divide sign and divide by 3. So basically what this is doing is you have 3 days worth of data. So you can add them all up into one column. And then because there's only 3 days, you divide it by 3. Now, to get across the rest of it, if you highlight that one cell, you can see that there's a little dark square at the bottom right-hand corner. Now, if you take that, when you hover over it, you get more of a solid black line. You can take that and drag it all the way down. You'll do the same thing for the bottom one. You'll highlight it. When you hover over that little smaller dark square in the bottom right-hand corner of that box, it will turn dark, and then you can pull it all the way across. So now, this whole line that I'm about to highlight is your 3-day averages. These are the numbers that are going to go directly into your part 2. So I'm going to pull up part 2 here and kind of put them side by side here. Okay, so when you start with the part 2, you're going to do your total kilocalories here. So this number in my instance would be the 806. So I'm going to put 806 here. My total fat is highlighted in yellow. It's 16. This is a little bit easier if you do round up or down on the numbers. Now, if you don't want to do it in your head, I should have told you this first. If you don't want to do these in your head, you can highlight this row and you can right click it and do format cells. You can do number and then you can drop it down to 0 there. So now it's whole numbers across. So you don't even have to do the rounding yourself. Now I'm going to go down. So saturated fat was 10. Polyunsaturated was 0 grams. My mono was 1. Whoops. My mono was 1. My trans fat was 0. The next one is the total carbohydrates. So you've got to skip a couple of rows here, or columns here. So your carbohydrates, on this one, it's 98. My fiber is 9. I'm going to keep scrolling down. My sugar was 40. My protein was 52. Now you're going to duplicate the protein here. So 52 goes right there as well. I'm going to scroll down or scroll across a little bit on my Excel sheet, and I'm going to scroll down to the next page. Now, one of the things about this 3-day average with the vitamins, the vitamin A, C, calcium, and iron, they are in percentages on the Excel sheet. So that's why you have a percentage here. So this one would be 5% for vitamin A. For vitamin C is 12. For calcium, it's 19. For iron, it was 9%. Now you're going to duplicate these numbers across. So 5%, 12%, 19%, and 9%. Now we're going to fill in the rest of these numbers right here. So the potassium is actually in milligrams. So this was 367. The cholesterol number was 84. And my sodium over here was 1032. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and close out and minimize this MyFitnessPal. I'm going to open up both of these sheets. I'm going to go back up to the top. So for this particular, on the kilocalories for the recommended amount, this is going to be whatever shows up on your MyFitnessPal. That's why we request you to maintain your weight as far as when you're putting in your numbers, etc., when you sign up for the account. Now, depending on if you put, as far as your activity level, if you put not very active, active, etc., or highly active, that number will vary a little bit more. For mine is at 1800, so I'm going to go ahead and put 1800 for that particular one. Now, I'm just going to go in and show you how to do all of these calculations. So the first one is total fat, which is 17. So you're going to take 17 times 9. The reason why you're doing 9 is because there's 9 kilocalories in a gram of fat. So to get this number right here, you're doing 9, and actually I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. It's going to be 9 times 17. So this number for me is 153. And I'm going to go ahead and fill in all of these on the left-hand side first, and then we'll go back and do the percentages. So the next one right here is going to be 10 times 9. So if you do 10 times 9 is 90. So I'm going to put 90 here. This one is 0, so obviously this is going to carry over to 0. Monounsaturated fats, I have 1. So 1 times 9 is 9. Here again, I'm going to put a 0 because I don't have any. And then right here is total carbohydrates. I have 98 grams of carbohydrates. I'm going to times this one by 4 because there's 4 kilocalories in a gram of carbohydrates. So that actually comes out to 392. Now we're going to go ahead and start with the percentages. So now this is 153 of your calories, total kilocalories are coming from your total fat. So to get this percentage, you're taking your 153 and you're dividing it by the actual amount of calories you ate. So in this instance, it would be 806. So that gets me 18.9. Now to get it to a percentage, don't forget to times it by 100. So this number for me, and I'm going to round it, is 19%. The next one is 90. So again, I'm going to do 90 divided by 806. That gets me 0.111. I'm going to times it by 100. And that gives me 11%. And I'm rounding these. The next one is 0, so I'm going to carry the 0 over. The next one is 9, so I'm going to do 9 divided by 806, and then times it by 100, and that gets me 1%. The next one I'm going to carry over because it's a 0, and then this number is going to be 392, and again divided by 806. Times it by 100, and you get 48.6. So I'm going to round that up to 49%. And that's your first page. Now I'm going to go ahead and we're going to have to remember it's 806 is your total kilocalories here for this one. So I'm going to scroll down and do these last couple of ones. So again, sugar is a carbohydrate as well. So it's going to be 40 times 4, that will give me my 160 here. And then we're going to divide the 160 divided by 806, which is my total kilocalories, and then times it by 100. That's going to give me 20%. Protein also has 4 kilocalories per gram of protein. So we're going to take 52 times 4. That's going to give me 208. Then we're going to divide again by 806 and then times it by 100 to get my percent. I'm going to round it up to 26%. Now, the next number down here is calculating your protein based off your body weight. So we're just going to use 150 pounds for a person. So the first thing that you have to do is turn in your weight in pounds to kilograms. So you're going to have to divide this by 2.2 pounds per kilogram of body weight. So there's 2.2 pounds per kilogram body weight. So 150 divided by 2.2 is 68.18 grams. So a 150 pound person would weigh 68.18 kilograms. Now you're going to take the 68.18 kilograms and you're going to times it by 0.8. And where I got that 0.8 number is right here. Now that gives you 54.5. We're going to round up and say 55 grams for that. All right, so moving down, we're going to move into the vitamin mineral section. So if you pull up your book, you're going to see on the inside cover, as far as the purple numbers right here, it's listed by male and female and your different age groups. I'm going to use what's common for most people. So this is going to be 700 micrograms for most people. All right, so vitamin C, for most females, it's going to be 75. For females, for calcium, that is typically 1,200 as well. 1,200 or 1,000, depending on your age. And then the next one is iron. So for most women, it's 18. So men, just make sure you do these numbers correctly because they are higher for men. Now, the one thing about the potassium in your book is the potassium is listed in grams. You're going to have to change that to milligrams. So for instance, a female needs 4.7 grams or 4,700 milligrams for the potassium. Now, since we've got those numbers now, we're going to take your 700 and you're going to times it by the 5%. So don't forget to change your 5% back into a decimal. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and just write it underneath here. You have to move that decimal to the two places to the left. So if you'll look, I put 0.05. So I'm going to do 700 times 0.05. That comes out to 35. Now the next one is 12%. So my decimal will be 0.21 because I'm moving it two places to the left. You can also take your number, if it's easier for you, you can do 12 divided by 100 as well. It'll get you the same place. And you're going to times that by your recommended intake. For mine, it's 75. So it would be 9 milligrams here. The next one for calcium is going to be 0.19 times 1,000. And that's going to give me 190 milligrams. And then the next one is going to be 0.09 for me times 18. That's going to give me 1.62 milligrams. Now, when you get to some of these smaller numbers like the iron, you'll want to put a decimal there. As you can see, for the other ones, they were pretty much whole numbers. But when you get into some of these smaller ones, you might want to put at least the 10th place there. Now, as far as the potassium, because it's when you get it from the MyFitnessPal, it's already in milligrams. So you're going to take 367 in my case, divided by 4,700. That's going to give you 0.078. Remember to times it again by 100 to get your percent. And I'm going to round up for this percent, which is 8%. I hope that you found the video helpful. I will also do it for part 3. Now, another thing too, if you keep scrolling past, all the calculations that I just went over are listed down in towards the bottom here as well. So if you do have any issues, please let me know, and I'll be glad to help you. Y'all have a good day.